The installation process is divided into 4 steps, which I will explain briefly. The first step is to check the condition of the surface. You need to make sure that the surface meets the 5 points I mentioned earlier, i.e., that the surface is hard, smooth, stable, level, and free from moisture. If any of these are not correct, you may have problems. It is possible that you may have problems with delaminations, cracks, etc., which may be associated with poor preparation of the surface or poor control of the condition of the surface. As I said, you can check this information in our installation guide, so you know exactly what each step of the surface needs to be. A very frequent comment I get is, "This floor is missing this, so what do I do? Can't I lay it?" No, if the support is not at these 5 points, what you need to do is get the surface to that state. For example, if it is not level, it needs to be leveled before application. Micro quartz is not a self-leveling product. You must apply a product to ensure that the support is in this condition before applying micro quartz. This is essential, basic, fundamental, and it's not part of the application process, let's say, because the surface may be perfect and we can start tomorrow without any problem, or it may require some kind of more in-depth intervention that may even take days or half a day's work. The installer will be responsible for observing the state of the support and checking if any type of prior intervention is required to start the installation. And from here, we start with point number 2, although it would be point number 1, which is the specific installation process of micro quartz, and that is the application of the primer. The system consists of 3 parts, let's say. One is the adhesive, the primer, the second is the application of micro quartz, and the third is the protection and sealing. And those are the 3 steps, the 3 parts of the system. Let's say 4, because first of all, remember that the surface preparation was the first step. But once the surface is prepared, we go to the first step, which is the application of the primers, the adhesives. The second step, which can be 3 or 4 layers, is the application of the products that make up the micro quartz system. For example, if you want a micro quartz classic system, you will have to apply 2 layers of micro quartz base and 1 layer of micro quartz fine if you are on the walls, or 1 layer of micro quartz hard base on the floor, then 1 or 2 layers of micro quartz base, and then a final layer of micro quartz fine. As you can see, it is a process, and it is very important that you follow this application cycle. I have come across many projects where the application cycle has not been followed. Not all the coats have been applied, and this often compromises the quality of the coating. In many situations, I have seen this happen in order to get a lower price for the customer. And what we end up doing is giving the customer a lower quality, and of course that is not good for anybody. It is not good for the installer, and it is not good for the customer, who is going to end up enjoying the product that has been applied. That is why when you have to do your house, it is also important that you do not get carried away by an excessively low price, but that you go and look for a market price. We will talk about prices in another video later on, and that you make sure that the installer is within the market in terms of price, and that they also do it in a professional way. So these 4 points are very important for the application. Remember to work very well the support that satisfies these 5 points, and the primers, the body of the product, which are these different layers of the different versions of micro quartz, and the sealing, the protection, the varnish that corresponds to each situation. It is also important to get it right. We have varnishes for walls, a protection for floors, another for shower trays. If you suddenly have a varnish for walls on a floor, it is possible that this varnish does not have the resistance that it needs to have to correspond to the quality required for a floor. So it is also important that you know that this is how it works, so that you can see it in your project, in your work, so that you are aware of what is being done. And if you are an installer, then of course you need to know this, so that you can finally offer the system to your client and apply it in the correct way as it works. As I said, you can find out more about all this at the EcoResinas Academy.